Hey guys, Master39 here, and welcome back to the second part of this New York trip video. I recommend you watch the previous one because since once this little segment is over, we'll continue on from whatever we did the last time, where we left off on the previous part. You're probably gonna watch that now. And the same music that was used in the previous part will be used here. Just as a recap, will be top 10 no copyright sounds best of NCS of May 2017. So that's about it. And have a good time watching me walk places. Alright, so from Sequel Studios, we will be heading to the Cooper Union, which is where we'll be having lunch. And yeah. So fun stuff. We take one of these shirts, I don't remember, so yeah, I just put all three there.
Inside lane, missing exits, glued to the pavement. Between the lines, I'll keep my gaze straight ahead as the last stop flies by. No more waiting for the gun to fire. No more walking through revolving doors. I've gone around once, and I don't need to go around anymore. Break away, forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words. Stop stalling in the doorway and cancel the cruise control. Switch it in the manual. Don't you wanna feel right? To shape the mind, speeding up the pace, turning up the heat, where I need to be for the first time. I'm taking risks, I'm casting off without a lifeline. Break away, forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words. Stop stalling in the doorway and cancel the cruise control. Switch it in the manual. Don't you wanna feel right again? Don't you wanna feel whole? Don't you wanna feel?
have to make this quick. So after Kubi Union, we're heading to the Type Directors Club exhibition to see some nice typography stuff. So you guys will get to see all that stuff. See ya. Alright, so after that, we are gonna head to the third studio, which is the Firstborn Multimedia Corporation. So we end up taking the subway there as well. We took I think it was the R or W subway, and yeah, so you get to see the subway of New York. Exciting, I know.
you guys doing? Hi. Oh, we don't have to. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I think we're just gonna walk you guys around. Come back here. It's really great. The timing. We had like all agency meetings this morning. We shared all of our talk here, so you guys get to see a lot of different kind of art concepts. This is Steve. This is Steve. Yeah, we're creative directors in the office. Our easy way over there, we have a chief creative officer, June. Probably won't be able to have time to do it, but it's a pretty small office. I think it'll take like 5 minutes to see everything.
Yeah, super quick tour. I'll take you down. We have our entire team sits in one big open space together. And they sit by team. So we'll walk you all the way down. We have a big strategy R&D room down at the end of the hall. And then we'll make our way back here and Q and Steve can kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what we do and show you some work. Yeah.
I don't know if it's on the statue.
We actually moved into this office. Yeah, we built some arcade machines a couple months ago.
Mario Kart?
Yeah, we have a bunch of old Nintendo games and 64 games. Like
What a beauty.
yeah. So we actually just moved into this office in February. Before that, we were on the 5th floor when we were there for about 4 or 5 years. So we just moved up here, so everything's very new. We're still getting settled in. This is where the whole team works, and they're actually in the middle of working right now. So
What are they working on?
a bunch of different teams working on a bunch of different clients. Yeah,
Some of those games?
work on games, websites, mobile apps, VR experiences.
Cool.
So we'll try to keep our voices down while we walk down, but then once we come back here, you guys can ask Steve and Q any questions you have. So if you follow me. This is our studio down here. Some motion graphics, 3D, all of our post-production. Big R&D space. So all of the VR experiences that we're building are back here. We built soda machines for Pepsi a few years ago. So we do a lot of QA and any type of hardware projects that we work on, we store back here. It's kind of like a room for the team to tinker and figure things out.
Sweet.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the studio team sits in the back. Video editing, motion graphics, 3D, any like post-production or like developing content. This team works on that. And as you make your way up, it's studio, technology. So we have about 15 or 20 developers that work in-house. Then our strategy team, and then towards the front of the office is mostly designers and copywriters. So there's a lot of different teams here. We try to keep all of the actual work like in-house. So pretty much everything we build, our team here in the office builds it. So we can make our way back up front and you guys can see some of the projects that we're actually working on.
Yeah.
There's no hosting offices. We didn't want to block any windows. So we kind of like little conference spaces. Every room has a computer in it, so you can just pull up projects off the server. And try to move offices then. Let's come to MBF and decide what
We're gonna go to this big conference room.
Hey guys, let's go here.
Can you guys meet?
Just a short one.
Oh, sorry. This will be a short one.
I could not expect this.
What do you guys think?
It's the most comfortable room we've seen yet.
So this room was named after our founder of the company, Michael Bertman. We call it MBF. Actually, this is a really good spot because we do a lot of VR work. We do a lot of VR work, and we have some VR stations set up here. If you guys want to try some VR. Have you guys tried VR? Anyone here?
No.
Yeah.
No. So
I see one head nodding. I see one head
one
nodding.
head nodding. So
So I
maybe
think-
this is the time to.
Yeah. We do a lot of different types of work here. So all the boards that you see on the walls out there represent that. There's everything from branding exercises where we sit down with leadership at large corporations and figure out what their voice should be and how they should speak to consumers and what their logos look like and everything in between. We do large-scale websites, e-commerce sites that millions of people come to a year. We make apps. We
Installations,
do
like space design,
touch screens.
Product. We did a vending machine for Pepsi. It's a digital vending machine. I don't know if you guys seen that.
We recently
Does it have a movie on it?
Yeah. It's like you see liquids going. It's pretty cool.
we just did a custom typeface for one of our clients, Jet.com, which was like a highlight of my career.
I think our bread and butter is like doing digital experiences, so like websites, videos. Like we do a lot of videos, small content stuff, like the motion graphic stuff. So we have like, if you look at our company, it's the creatives are very broad. We have illustrators, we have animators, we have filmmakers, we have designers, we also have UX designers, we have writers. So our capability is pretty broad. We take on whatever work that solves a business problem, right? It's not just design that we're doing. We're helping a business either sell more or to communicate an idea to its consumers. And whether it's a VR thing or a video thing, it's really what is the best for our customer and for their customers. That's how we approach our work.
We've sort of always been, our two things that we've excelled at as a company have been design and technology. So that's why you see things like virtual reality, artificial intelligence, chatbots. Those are the things that we're starting to do now because that's sort of on the cusp or the edge of where technology is headed. So we try to solve, nothing that we do in terms of solving a client's business problem is in our interest. You know, we're being paid, this is a service company. Our ECD likes to say design is not art. You know, we have to be in the interest of solving a problem. That's when we do things, and you know, it could potentially be beautiful. Most of the time it is, but at the root of what we're doing is problem solving. So that's really important distinction when you think about design versus, you know, sculpting a bowl in art class in middle school, right? So you take those same principles and apply them to a business problem, and that's what we do a lot of here.
You guys have any questions before we dive into the work?
I know you worked on video games. Can you name us examples of what video game works you've done in the past in this place?
Good question actually. One of our biggest clients is Supercell. So you know they make Clash of Clans, Clash Royale. So we do their websites. We do a lot of their social campaigns or campaign websites when they launch a new feature or a new game. I think they just recently launched a new game, so we created a website. We did all this executions for it. So in terms of like gaming itself, we just created a game. I think this past December we created this like Santa Claus game. It's a VR game, and you can like bash like zombies.
It's a tower defense game.
Yeah. So I think one of our studio guys, he learned Unreal Engine. He learned Unreal Engine in like a week, and he coded it and worked with another designer, illustrator to come up with all the characters, and they developed it together. I think in like a couple months, like super fast,
6
super
weeks.
quick, boom, boom, boom. We did like a pretty cool website for it. We had one of our illustrators do this cool like Santa Claus illustration. We launched that. So the great thing about this, we got about 20,000 downloads for that. You guys can download it if you have Steam. You can download it and like play the game yourself. We do stuff like that. We're actually developing a game as we speak, and we're hoping to launch, according to our president CEO, by the end of the year. So we're delving into that kind of work.
But so we do a lot of work in the gaming vertical, meaning doing websites and apps like you said, but in terms of making our own video games, we're really only doing that within the VR space, and we've done one, and that's Nick, and then the next one that's coming out is top secret, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not developing like PlayStation or Xbox games.
Yeah.
Alright, that's fine. Why can't we just see it?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Any other questions?
Don't be shy.
Are you guys mostly like back-end coders? Or is it like, it's all front-end?
We have like 2 back-end coders.
Okay.
Like our bread and butter is really the design, the strategy, the UX, the strategy, coming up with like what's right for our customer. And then if it's required, we work with a partner sister agency, because they're called Isobar, and that's their bread and butter, like the back-end big systems. So we work with them to execute on that.
And a lot of our developers are focused on sort of like the craft, front end, what is the experience for the user. We have a couple back-end guys that work on integrations, because a lot of times the sites that we do are being built on these huge proprietary content management systems, and none of our developers want to learn any of that stuff. So that's when we work with our sister agency.
Yeah. And usually those big builds, they're using an existing system. They're not usually creating from scratch, because that costs a lot of money. And a lot of these existing systems are really limited. So, and again, a lot of these existing systems were built in like early 2000, mid 2005. So it's not built for some of the new capabilities for like mobile and stuff. So it's not like as strong. So you'll see that when you do a lot of e-commerce sites, they're working on these systems that are 15 years old, and it'll cost them millions of dollars to upgrade. So instead of doing that, they try to cut corners and they want to do what's cheap. So that's sort of where our this sort of transitional stage we're in right now. Like everyone's trying to catch up, but they don't want to spend the money on it. So a lot of our job is trying to sell our client on, you have to do this because this is where we're going, this is where we're at. And it's a battle. Like, this job is a battle. So like, sometimes you lose and sometimes the quality of it fails at the end because you're limited to what the client wants to do. So that's like a big lesson, I think, as you grow in this sort of field. You only have so much control. And you have to work within the playground that you're sort of in. And a lot of the times it's satisfying a lot, but then it could be humiliating and defeating at the same time. So it's a win-lose, but I think, Steve, you can agree with this, but most designers I've ever worked with love design.
Yeah.
Like, if you go into this like office and ask anybody, they love it. Like, this is what defines us.
Yeah, I thought I wanted to be a United States senator and I was going to go to law school,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad that I didn't. So, Q speaking about the realities of what we do, but I love what I do every day. So, it's a unique industry, it's a growing industry.
It's really rewarding though.
I'm glad that I'm not an accountant. My fiance works for Bank of America in the financial district. I like my job a lot more than she likes hers. So, if you are interested in doing this in the future, it's a really rewarding. There are a lot of parameters, but those parameters and solving problems for, if someone comes up to you and says, I need a big idea, that's a lot harder to solve than I need a big idea with these parameters, it needs to cost this much money, it needs to achieve these things. That's the beauty in solving problems, is looking at limitations and still creating something that's unique and smart, and sells products or, gets the word out about a new event or anything like that. So it is a really rewarding thing.
Are most of you guys, you're all looking to be designers? That's what you're all studying right now?
High school students.
That's cool. What, seniors, juniors, one senior?
I think it was
Oh, senior. Are you guys going to art school?
Yeah.
Where are you guys going?
Well,
Oh, you guys are still deciding?
Hopefully Rutgers.
Rutgers is great.
And Q likes to talk about how good Rutgers is. I don't know.
Did you go to Rutgers?
Yeah, Jackie was my professor about 15 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's like when
I'm
that's
old
when
as
she
fuck.
started.
Yeah. So I think it's been, I think I've been in this industry for 11 years, and it gets better every year, I think.
That's
Every year it gets better. And I think it gets better because you learn more about yourself, you learn more about the craft, and you sort of learn more about what the role of design is within the bigger context of like what you're doing, because it's just design, and I think a lot of designers take it too seriously sometimes. And I think if you, like what's great about Firstborn is like I got to work on so many different kinds of work. It sort of balances you out as a person. And I think that's what's nice about it, because and I'm sure Jackie says this, but research is a huge part of design and also understanding people and how they behave. And once you realize how different everyone is, right? For Talc, you know, we're designing a website for 60, 70-year-olds, and they think totally different. They use the web, anything totally different. So you have to sort of like understand their psyche and how they operate. And then sometimes we're doing designs for like little kids, like Fisher Price, right? So it's like that's a totally different audience, right? So you start to understand like people's behaviors and psyches, and it starts to help you sort of behave better too. So it's an incredible profession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try putting yourself in the
Yeah.
mindset of a 70-year-old
Yeah.
woman who can't see, and then design a website for them instead of designing it for yourself, right? So that's what I mean with like parameters and, you know, you're not making a Jackson Pollock painting every time that you get an assignment, if that makes sense.
Cool. So we also do these things where when someone new starts, we have a little tidbit. I think Brett writes those.
Yeah, this is our screens. This is our screensaver. It kind of keeps
We have our intern.
keeps everybody.
There you go. I see all day. Okay. Sweet. You guys want to try some VR? Do you know how to set this up?
Fire
Yeah,
fire it up here.
We could also walk through some of the
Walk
work
through.
outside if you guys are interested in that. If there's anything that we just did a project to launch the new Adidas NMDs.
I think that would be really
We have some branding stuff out there. If you guys are like package design, or we have some website stuff, we can walk you through anything. If there's any particular interests, or if you just kind of want to come out and point at stuff and we can tell you about it, sort of. I know you guys are at like the after lunch like lull, so we gotta get you up.
It's hot outside. It's actually hot in this room.
Yeah.
It's really hot in this room.
Before we do that, like, do you guys have any other questions for these guys?
Don't be shy.
There you go.
You went to Rutgers, where'd you go?
I'm from the Midwest, so I went to a school in St. Louis called Maryville University.
University of Florida.
Yeah.
You've been saying how like satisfying and this job sort of is.
Sure.
But could you kind of share what is like the more frustrating side of this job?
Looks like he has an answer to that.
I mean, well, why don't I talk about both things, right? At the end of the day, this is a job, right? We get paid money from clients to do a service for them. It is a service industry. So, you know, a lot of times frustrations come from disagreements with clients. You know, we get into their businesses and we try to understand them as closely as we possibly can. Sometimes we have clients that really trust us, other times we have to earn clients' trust, and I think what it really comes down to is, you know, Dave, our ECD always says, know where your client's bonus comes from, right? So if they have to launch on time to get a bonus, they're gonna be less concerned about the quality of the work than we are. So corners get cut, like Q said. Or if they get a bonus with 50 million downloads of an app, then they're gonna be concerned on ensuring that people see that big download button, right? And a lot of times, you know, we're experts in user experience, how things work, how things look, and a lot of times those principles can be flawed because of different motivations. So a lot of times the arguments, yes, there are arguments, the disagreements, things like that, come from two different interest levels, because a lot, you know, as designers, we're interested in the craft. We want it to look beautiful and we want it to work seamlessly. So that's a frustrating thing. You know, a lot of times frustration comes from, you're still working in a creative industry, right? So sometimes you come to work and your brain, it's just not working, right? Like sometimes it's just, you're trying to be creative and it doesn't work. So, you know, if you're staring at the same Photoshop file for 8 hours and you haven't made any progress, you know, sometimes you might have to stare at it for a few hours later in that evening, or you might have to go on a walk or clear your head. So, you know, it's not a traditional 9 to 5 in terms of get here at 9, oh, finished at 5 o'clock. You know, we work with deadlines, and lot of times deadlines are driven by initiatives within organizations that can't be moved. So there might be a week where you work 50 or 60 or sometimes more hours, you know. So that can be frustrating at times, but also I think if you're like any people on our teams, you know, you take pride in the craft and the character and in what you're doing, so you would never want to put something out that's subpar, so you might stay and add those little nuanced details anyway. So, you know, again, I'm glad I'm not an accountant, I'm glad I'm not an attorney. You know, I get to, I'm dressed up today. Q's wearing sandals, guys.
It's 92 degrees outside.
Shorts, I mean.
Well, that's the best part. You go into like a corporate meeting and everyone's in a suit and you can wear whatever you want. And because you're a designer, you get away with it.
Yeah, I went to the board meeting of this very conservative company, travel company that Q was talking about, and a pair of jeans, Vans sneakers, and a baseball cap. Everyone else in there had on a suit, but because we're the creatives, we get to do whatever we want.
I think they would mistrust us if we wore a suit to
Yeah.
like to those meetings.
So, you know, the good outweighs the bad every single day. You know, if you choose to pursue this and want to excel at it, it will be much more rewarding than frustrating. I think, you know, Q brought up some of the frustrations because he didn't want you guys to think it's all kittens and rainbows, but it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing just to mention is like 9 out of 10 times your vision is not going to get executed. And that's only because when you start out, you have this big idea, right? You want it to be something. But then it goes through, you know, rounds of revisions, rounds of meetings, rounds of feedback, and then someone else has to build it for you. You don't control the full process. You can influence the full process, right? So sometimes projects get killed. You can be finished with everything about the project. So this happened with the branding project. Like we designed the box, the glasses, everything was ready to launch, and it got killed. And that happened just recently with the Supercell project.
Yeah.
So
a client paid us over $1 million to make something, and then decided a week before it was going to be launched that they didn't want to launch it anymore. Right?
So that's the reality of it.
That's
9
frustrating.
Out of 10 times, what you envision doesn't get executed. But I think, for me, I love the full process. I'm in love with the work, not just the final thing that you're gonna see.
Well, a lot of times that process is more rewarding than the final product.
Yeah. And I think once you start to move up, you're gonna start to actually teach people about design, teach people about how to look at design. You start to develop your eye, your craft gets better, and then you start to get rewarded based on how other people perform, right?
Mentorship
And stuff like that. So I think at every step in the growth process, there's something different that's rewarded. Yeah, it's just like not a set profession, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can make it whatever you want it to be. Especially because, I mean, if you think 20 years ago, what we do today didn't exist. So 20 years from now, what we do now probably won't exist. And it's about, I think this industry really, people that excel in this industry are extremely curious and extremely driven. You know, they like to learn, they're self-starters. I think one thing about Firstborn, and I think one thing about other creative agencies that works really well, is you don't really ask for permission to do anything, right? You teach yourself, you learn, you try new things. You know, we didn't wait around for someone to teach us how to do VR projects. We just started doing them. So curiosity, work ethic, and one thing we take to heart here and that is really important is no assholes, no egos. You can't be. And there's 100 people out there that work together very closely every day, right? So if someone is rude or if someone's ego is bigger than the other, that really kind of sends some ripples throughout the entire office. So it's about, it's a lot like sports in some ways. It's about being a good team and being a good teammate. Those are the people that are the most successful in this industry. So if you're competitive and you don't like to lose and you care about quality and you want to do your best on everything, you'll probably be pretty successful at this. Does that make sense?
What's the average salary when you first start out?
Average salary. It depends actually what kind of design you do and where you're going. So if you go to San Francisco and you're like a UX designer, you can get paid like you can start at 120, 130. But you're going into a bigger company and they're not gonna teach you a lot. So a lot of those guys, they get stuck in that in-house world. So like a lot of the people that went to Google right out of college that I met, they don't have a portfolio after 2 years. You know, because what they're doing is they're creating a wireframe and they're skinning with existing visual systems. So they're not equipped to go to an agency or to lead a project because they're not developing that skill. If you go to an agency, like or even a smaller agency, you can go to a small branding firm maybe with 50 people, or like a mid-size like 50, or like size like us like 100 people. Like you're gonna do different kind of work. Like you do branding, you're gonna do websites, you're gonna do VR experiences. You know, you're gonna work with devs closely. But you're gonna probably start like at 50 to 60, right? So you gotta sort of think about, is it money? Is that the driver? Or is it the actual craft? And like I said, the people that are really successful at this are the people that actually just love doing it. They love the full process. They love looking at the detail. They love working with other professionals. So the reward isn't the money. I mean, you're gonna get paid eventually, right? So a lot of those guys that start out those in-house places that don't learn a lot, they're capped out. But if you have a fundamental understanding of your skill, of your craft, you understand how to start and finish a project, then once you get to a creative director level, then that's where you're gonna get the money, right? Or you start your own thing. So it just depends on where your motivations are.
It shouldn't be about money first. I made a lot less than all of those numbers that you just said when I started, and I live a very comfortable life now. And I'm still glad I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
So don't be driven by money at first.
It'll pay off at the end. Yeah, it always does.
And don't go work at Google at first either. Work in a small agency, get thrown in the deep end and see if you can swim. That's my advice.
It's really tempting though, the money and the benefits. It'll be very tempting.
You don't want any of that.
Cool. Any other questions?
Just one more question. When you're like hiring, what like pops out to you when you're like looking at portfolios or resumes and stuff?
I would say typography. That's the first thing we look at. Next would be composition, like space, how you deal with space. And it all starts formal, right? Formally, you gotta get a typography, space, color. How do you art direct that? And then you start to think about, well, what was this person thinking when they decided to make that decision, right? So what's the concept? If it's a branding thing that I'm looking at, I don't want to see a logo. I want to see all the different executions of how that logo is going to be applied. Because if you think about branding, it's not about the logo. The logo is like the 10% of the equation. If you look at the bigger picture, like even if you look at the Nike logo, everyone knows the Nike logo, right? It's beautiful, whatever. But they've injected so much value into that logo by surrounding it with incredible experiences, with incredible football players, basketball players. When you think of Nike, you think of Jordan, you think of LeBron, you think of Kobe, and that's not through the logo, that's through everything else they do with it, right? So when you show me a logo on a portfolio, I want to see how that's executed on print. I want to see how that's executed on a billboard, on a video. How does that animate? I want to know what the full story is, not just a piece of logo. So thinking is important, but we really have to start with that fundamental, which is typography, color, space, and yeah.
You learn all those things in design school. You're not supposed to know that stuff right now.
Yeah.
But I think the highlight is, first and foremost, you have to have a grasp on what it is that you're doing. And typography is like my #1 passion, so I agree with Q. And then if you understand typography, there's a chance that you understand everything else about design. So 9 times out of 10, when we receive a resume or someone shoots their stuff to Brett and then he passes it along to the creative directors, the first barrier is this person's work good enough for us to evaluate, right? So we look at the first few projects, and if they're not quality enough, then you're probably cast away. There's a whole other aspect to hiring after that, and that's attitude, that's hunger, willingness to fail, willingness to throw yourself out there and see. We have hired, so we're predominantly a digital or an interactive agency. We've hired people with 0 interactive experience because they understood the basics of design, they had the right work ethic, they came in and they weren't assholes. Again, very important attitude-wise. So, while that craft and that aspect of that is really important, the second half of being hired is this a person that I want to work with? Can Q and I get along 50 hours a week? Can we make each other better? Can we kind of plus each other up? You know, Q is good at things that I'm not good at, vice versa. That makes us a great team. So after all of those things, after you learn the basics of design, and when you're a senior in college or you're an intern, and you know, the next part is, am I a pleasant person to work with? So just figure all that out in the next few years and you'll be fine. No problem. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone with all my cursing. I'm sure none of you guys say curse words. Cool.
What did you guys like major in?
Graphic design.
Okay.
Fine art, and I concentrated in design. That's how Rutgers works.
Yeah, so it all depends on which school you go to, right? And your teacher's probably going to kill me for saying this, but I dropped out of college. You don't have to have a college degree to do this, but you better be a hard-working person if you don't have a piece of paper that says you get this, right? There's nothing that says, when we get resumes, we don't go to your GPA and look at the college that you went to.
You don't look at the school ever. You don't care.
Again,
You don't care.
I did go to design school, but it's not required. It's just strongly, strongly recommended.
It's actually what college is really good for is learning the fundamental and then getting connections. So we interview a lot of people at SVA because we have like personal connections with some of the professors there, so they send us a lot of people to look at. RIT is one of our big pipelines too, and they send us a lot, like their professors send us a lot of the resume, right? So you have to really think about what school is gonna connect me to the type of companies I wanna work at while teaching me the fundamentals. So like if you're gonna spend your money, think about where you wanna be in that 4 years, what kind of companies you wanna work for. For example, RIT, like Google goes to RIT all the time. If you wanna work at Google, go to RIT. If you wanna work at Pentagram, go to RISD, you know? Like so, all these schools have different pipelines, and if you want to be really smart about what school choices you make, like I would think about that.
But there are so many schools.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite designer ever went to the University of Cincinnati. You don't have to go to an art school to be a good designer. I went to a small 5,000 person design school in St. Louis. You don't have to go to a prestigious school to be a good designer, but you do have to work hard, right? I would lose sleep over like endless rabbit holes on the internet. You know, that's that curiosity. So again, it's not something where you come in, you turn your computer on, and then at 5 p.m. you turn it off, right? You have to be curious and have that work ethic.
Who's your favorite designer, Michael Bigger? Wondering.
She knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Don't like that.
I know you don't like that.
You're not a fan?
I'm not a fan of the Pentagram. I think, well, I'm like, you know, I think they see a lot of great stuff. It's a little too pretentious for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like sometimes designers tend to take this too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saving lives.
Yeah, that's, you know what, that's,
No, we're
that brings up a really good point too.
You know,
there are so many different types of design.
Yeah.
One of my best friends works for an agency in San Diego, and they design websites for Volcom and Reef and Beats and all, you know, that's much different than designing websites for financial institutions, or, you know, Pentagram is like a consultancy, so some of those guys wear ties to work every day. Not my thing, but certainly lucrative opportunities and fun projects. They've done, I bet you on every street that you walk down in New York, they've probably done a logo somewhere on a store or something, you know. So think about what kind of work you want to be doing, because there's so many different types of design, so many different types of disciplines. Maybe you're interested in this, but you don't want to be a designer. Maybe there's an avenue to be a developer, coding, or you know, user experience, where you like to think about, you know, put yourself in the mindset of that 70-year-old person who's coming to the website, and you help diagram and research and do all the things that lead up to the design. It's not, it doesn't just have to be, as I tell my, you know, older family members in the Midwest, I don't just draw pretty pictures on a computer every day. There's a lot of different avenues that you can take it. in terms of the type of work and the type of client. At First Born, we do work for all kinds of things. You know, we work with Adidas, we work with S&P Global Financial, we work with travel companies, we work with beauty companies, L'Oreal, we work with Supercell. So that's one plus of working here is that I know more about women's makeup and hair products than I ever imagined that I ever would. But that's the fun part, right? That was a challenge for me to understand those things. So that's the other exciting thing about this. It's really easy to design Nike.com. The shoes are beautiful, the photographs of the shoes are beautiful. The challenge comes in doing things that push you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that was good.
I blacked out. What did I do?
Last speech, 10 out of 10.
Cool. Cool. If you don't have any questions, you can just maybe let's just walk through it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Got me, Pam. I got you, let Sam. Oh, no, you don't need that. Why don't you just go find him?
Yeah.
There are 31 people out of the 100 people that worked here that touched this one project. So that's developers, producers, designers, writers, art directors. So this was the third launch of Adidas's NMD line. If you guys aren't familiar with their shoes, they look like this. Adidas is making like a really strong push against Nike. And what these guys did, the whole campaign was around this idea of past empowers future. So they found two photographers, one in New York and one in LA, that shoot with film, which you guys probably aren't familiar with because it was used long before you were born. But they used this very old technique to make these really beautiful photographs, and they launched this website that was available through Instagram stories, and then they had this big pop-up in Soho and then also out in LA where you could use like a really old school camera to make items, and it was like an installation, and if you won, then you got all of this gear that they curated, so like shoes and cameras and things like that. So it's been really successful. Anything else catch your eye?
Jet.
So that's for Jet.com. Jet.com is like Amazon's #1 competitor. They've been a client for a couple years. They just got bought by Walmart. You may have heard of that small little startup.
Not really.
So we do a lot of content for them. So you can see all those photographs of like dorm rooms and these little installations over here with the children jumping. We have teams that photograph all those items. So those things get used on the website and social media.
How big was that team? So we got an art director, a junior designer, a strategist, a copywriter, like two copywriters.
So on the creative side, it's 5 to 7 people.
Yep.
And then the bottom piece there is a font, a typeface that we designed with them. It's named after the street where their headquarters is.
So one thing to like just think about when you look at all these projects is that each project has about 10 to 15 team members, right?
So that's 30.
That one, well, however big that team is. So usually, like, it's not a single person that defines the creative vision. It's done through a team. It's not a single. I have a big idea. You know, it's usually there's a lot of strategy involved. There's a lot of thinking involved even before we get to this point. So I think like the lead up to getting that font finished was like 6 months of work,
Yep.
right? So a lot of the stuff that you're seeing here is about just the past year. I think that was the shortest one. It was like 2 months.
2 months.
Big rush.
Yep. Which thing were you pointing
I
at?
was pointing at the Pepsi.
Pepsi stuff?
Yeah.
These are comps for that travel website. So you can see and these are printed out websites, so it looks weird, but you can see how big the type is. Old people can't read. You can see, it's a travel site, so you want to entice users, so we're using really big photography. That's when you start to dig into some of these things. It's like have a reason for why you made design decisions. This is just about to actually start. These are designs that were done to get the client to say, yes, we want to work with you. So this is the coolest thing that we've got going. Can you talk about that?
Who designed this? You must design it. I didn't design this. Okay. So this is a branding project, so I'm sure you guys can do some other design studios, but the way we start branding projects is we want to understand our customer and client first. What they do, you know, like who they're trying to sell to. So like the top version of this is really like, so who's the target, who are they talking to? And what are some transformations that we need to make within the brand level to make them stand out from the competitors? So right now, if you look at all the competitors, they're all black and blue, because that's most tech companies, right? So,
Gray.
Or gray. So how can we create a visual system that's unique for them and also helps them stand out among their peers? So we did a whole brand positioning. Here are all the different sort of the positions that we're taking, and these are just the visual executions. So, you know, like they have this thing called the light, and the light represents data. So everything's based on this light, how the light reveals new truths, new paths. And there's a set of books that we're doing for all the different visual and type treatments. So the guidelines are right here, and then we also did a website. And then we also did a video, and that's the video you're sort of seeing kind of shut off. But in order to sell this through, we have to basically show why this is unique and different. And we did that through a lot of research up here. So when you're selling an idea, you're not selling a big idea, you're selling how your idea is presented relative to what they want to achieve, right? So it's based on the competitors and where they want to go. So it's a very tactical way of thinking about design. Design is, again, you want something really beautiful and artistic, but it has to tactically meet the needs of your customer, or it's not gonna fail. So it's really hard to get something like this sold. I mean, in fact, when we told the company that this is what we're doing, they're like, how did you convince your client to do that? Right, and the way we did it is through the upfront research. And that research is really important.
Anybody an NBA fan here?
Yeah.
That's Gary, everybody. Wait,
Hey Terry, he worked on the Adidas stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gary took all those photographs in that.
Cool. All right, any other questions or, okay?
How do you kind of like get assigned to a project? Is it more like if someone, for example, like who you pointed out, like he loves sneakers, so would he kind of get picked for this, or is it just whatever?
Yeah, so we have a team of about 30 designers, and we know all of their sort of what they're good at, what they're bad at, right? So Thierry, he's an amazing photographer. He has a great eye for photography, and because it's Adidas, it's lifestyle, it makes a lot of sense, right? He's also like really like cool. He's like the coolest kid in
He's
the
also
office.
French.
He's also
so
French.
When he talks, everyone listens.
Right. So he's like this really cool guy who has an incredible eye for photography, and he's an incredible designer, right? Incredible typography. So we teamed him up with a couple of copywriters who can come up with these concepts, and they came up to it together. He took all those photographs that are in there and edited and everything. So that's how we sort of determine it. Also, there are designers who want to learn like another part of design. Right? So a designer wants to learn how to do the research for a branding project. So we'll bring that person in and we'll educate them. So it all depends on like what the motivations of the designer is and what they're good at.
Do you do a lot of photography for all of your projects, or is it like special cases that you're doing?
50-50. Like we do have some really amazing photographers, but it all is based on the art direction, right? So Thierry is really good at the lifestyle, sort of photojournalistic kind of photography and stuff like that. Like, but he might not be the best studio photographer, right? So like that's a studio photography, right? So we need to have a different type of photography to take that.
But there are also instances like this is research work. Q led this rebrand for S&P Global, which is a huge financial institution with like five different segments.
It's the biggest financial company in the world in terms of output.
So they went to a specific branding company and did all the stuff up front, you know, similar to a Pentagram. Is it Interbrand or Landor?
It was a Landor.
Landor. So Landor came to us with a photographic direction already defined, and we just built upon that in our interactive work. We weren't able, you know, in certain instances, we're not able to influence that as much as others. But when you're working with a company like Landor that's really good, it's okay because it looks good already.
Right. And it's easier to do one-offs like this because it's a campaign, but if you're thinking about a huge visual system, it means you're dealing with stock photography. Right. So you spend lots of hours as an intern somewhere or as a junior designer just going through Getty for 8 hours.
Still one of my favorite things to do.
We still do it. I think, yeah, we still do it. We still do it, just turning that stuff around. So
I think that's the other thing to consider too. Q and I are creative directors. He's got 11 years experience. I've been doing this for 9, and we still like to get our hands dirty and do the intern stuff because it's fun. So cool.
yeah.
All right.
One last question.
Okay. How did you use the cause art in the Pepsi ad? Like, did you have to get the copyrights for that, or like?
Oh, that's a comp.
Yeah.
So hey, this is a concept, so we just grab whatever we can. So it's not like
But they are gonna, if that goes through, they are gonna reach out, and then Pepsi would pay them a licensing fee.
that would be so bad.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a lot of times brands will partner with artists like that.
So that's mainly on Pepsi. Like,
Yeah.
if you make
Yeah, like they have to approve it, and like oftentimes like political reasons or not, they want to approve somebody, but it's usually it's up to them.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, of
Thank you guys
course.
so much.
Yeah.
That was great.
Alright, so after the third and final studio, we are gonna take the subway all the way back to New York Penn. So you get to see the subway again. Woohoo! So there we go on the train back to the New Brunswick train station. So thank you guys so much for sticking through this 3-hour plus long project of mine. I had a fun time making all of this. And yeah, so if you want to take a look around my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I do other gaming content, mostly Nintendo related stuff. So I'll see you guys hopefully on my channel again. Bye!